Welcome to Bonn Park. I'm Sarah Geidlinger.
And I'm Marshall Ward.
I'm Julia Spiegl, a creative person trying to figure it out in KW region.
Welcome to Bonn Park.
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 We've got big news.
Do we ever? We have a brand new website.
And so many amazing things to check out on it.
BonnPark.com.
What can we find there?
You can listen to our episodes right on the site.
You can check out the Bonn Park community blog.
You can find out how you can partner with us.
Oh, and the shopping. We have so much fun merchandise.
I'm going to buy myself the I'm the Marshall Ward tote.
Me too.
BonnPark.com. Check us out. Julia, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm honored.
We've been showering you with love. We've missed you since we saw you last. Last time we saw you was at Marshall's art opening for the Air 25 exhibit at the Homer Watson House and Gallery.
Yeah,
Did I
thanks
get it
so
right
much for
from
coming
you?
out.
Yeah, of course.
But before that, we met you at Liminal Loft, which was one of our favorite places. And I had since so we took all of our photos. Sarah Fleisig and Mark Santos came out. We took all of our photos for our new website at Liminal Loft. Some down the street at Gowdy's Lane with is it Gowdy's or Gowdy?
Oh,
Gowdy's.
Yeah, right, because the store was Gowdy's. Some down the street at Gowdy's Lane, in front of Steph Boutari's mural as well, because that's kind of our where our first photo was taken. But we love your space. And then I came back and I was doing some photo shoots there as well. So that's the sort of the inception of how we got to know you. But Liminal Loft is no longer.
it is no longer.
So anyone who was able to take advantage of that when it was up and running, I mean, it was a special.
It was
period
so
of time.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah. I filmed, or I didn't personally film. My friend Chelsea filmed a music video there. It was 15 hours of us working together, setting up different sets. And yeah, it was incredible.
I think I know who this is too. It's like Videos by Chelsea or
Yeah.
Good stuff. Chelsea, you're very good.
Chelsea, you're great.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
seen a music video being filmed in person, but I imagine it's the song being played over and
Yes.
over again endlessly,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
And on like poor audio system because you're just trying to
on
right?
our phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should also give a shout out to Clarissa, who's the singer.
Actually, I think Clarissa won a giveaway of ours once, like last year. Remember that year that we did a lot of giveaways?
Yeah.
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 I'm pretty sure she did.
Nice.
Yeah. So tell us about, like, we're going to talk about the now defunct
Yes.
Liminal Loft, but
Yeah.
tell us about that project because you are many things and you do a lot of different things. So tell us about that project and what that was.
Yeah. It originated, the idea came from my neighbor who was living in the same building as me. She was thinking of running a studio space in her place, and she suggested I do it as well. I just created an Instagram for it, and then once I had the music video scheduled, and it was going to be on a Sunday, and then a man named Liam reached out to me, and he scheduled a booking 2 days before me.
Liam Good?
Liam Good.
Yep. Hi, Liam.
Or sorry, not before me, before the video, before the music video. Yeah. And then when Liam contacted me, I was like, oh, I guess this is a thing. This is going to happen. I had a yellow couch, which I got off of Facebook Marketplace.
It's all over my Instagram.
It was beautiful. It was an iconic couch. The loft was incredible. It was so beautiful. I had been in that before I started the Liminal Loft. I was living there for about a year. And I previously lived there with my ex-partner. And then when we split in January, I also was trying to find ways to make more income. Mm-hmm. And then that just segued into the Liminal Loft. And it became even more beautiful than I could have imagined. Yeah.
And when I look at photos taken there, it exemplifies the idea that the negative space you keep in that space is just as important as anything you put in that space, whether it's the couch or the natural brickwork, right?
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. I had a lot of people tell me that I designed it very beautifully, but I feel that loft space spoke for itself more so than what I put into it.
Did everyone have that same reaction when they went in that I had? Like, I was like, this is special.
Yeah.
This is pretty amazing in here.
Yeah. One time there was someone who came to the door who he was trying to get me to sign up for something. And he poked his head in and he said, I feel like you need to be an artist to live in a place like this. And I responded, I was like, well, I am. So, yeah.
That was another special thing that was peppered through the space were your paintings. You want to tell us about your journey with painting?
Yeah. Also, I want to say peppered through my space was my brother's paintings as well.
Was that larger one?
No.
Your brother's?
No. And that one wasn't mine either.
Oh, wow.
That one, the artist's name is Rebecca Payne. And that is a very, very beautiful piece of art that I've had for a while. Art. Yeah. I didn't start painting until about 2016. I lived in England for a year. And when I came back, I was just connecting with my brother. And he's been painting his whole life and drawing and doodling his whole life. And I never really did much of that. And then I asked him if he could teach me how to use oil paints. And then I ended up selling that first piece that I ever made.
How did that feel?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah.
It like legitimizes it for you?
Yes.
Makes it very real?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And also then a bit of, I don't know if shame is the correct word, but not feeling worthy of it because my brother has been painting his entire life, but it hasn't been a goal of his to sell his art. And then I just come in, the first piece I make, I sell. Sometimes it doesn't feel good.
You might just have better marketing skills, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking about your brother, but not talking about your brother specifically, but you seem to know a lot of people in the area.
Yeah.
You seem to be very connected. I'm sure it was easier for your stuff to be seen.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's out there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marshall is a painter. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Oh, you do know that. That's
Yeah.
right. So I'm sure you can speak to that quite a bit more, Marshall.
I could certainly talk for ages if we were talking about acrylics, but I actually have never touched oils. So what does oil paint instruction even look like from somebody? Like your brother would have, basically pulled out the oil paints and some turpentine and oil paint brushes and how does that begin?
The way that it looked was on our Fisher Price kids easel. He was on one side and I was on the other, and he just gave me some oil paints and basically said, go, there you go, try it out. I couldn't see his face because we were like sitting on little stools in front of this small easel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you start pushing the paints around.
Yeah, start pushing it around.
And what are you experiencing when it comes to the feeling of oils on canvas?
Yeah, it was
That was like very wet and slippery.
Yes. And I found I don't do oil anymore. Now my art that I do is I use acrylic mainly.
Yeah.
Because I'm not patient enough. I'm not patient enough. Yeah.
They take a long time to dry.
They do. They do.
Days.
Yeah. Yeah. And with acrylic, if I make a mistake or what I perceive to be a mistake or something that I don't enjoy, I can just leave it for 3 minutes and then go over it.
And also
It's
very
over.
forgiving. I always refer to acrylics as a liquid plastic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to word it. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of prime over it. But your work's very painterly,
Thank you.
right? And lots of color.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where else does that come from?
I wish I knew. I wish I could.
But you're very colorful. Your clothing is colorful.
Yes.
Your personality is
Thank
colorful.
you. Yeah.
The things that I see you create are colorful.
Yeah.
So it's just probably part of who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. In like my final years of university and then beyond, I've always worn really bright colors. And I'm not sure if that stems from like a need to be seen. Or if it's, just like another projection of my personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine you would be what might be categorized as an automatic painter, just reacting to whatever's in front of you, and you'll work with that space and canvas.
Yeah.
When I taught life drawing for years, if I had a room of 20 people, a lot of them understood the concept of just put the charcoal or the Conte or the graphite in your hand and just start making lines and drawing. But some people just couldn't do that.
Okay.
They had to be very particular.
Yeah.
They had to think about a starting point and go. And I never did really fully understand what was holding people back from just going for it.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah. I'm a big just go in many things in my life. Like when I lived in London, England, I had decided 3 weeks before that I was going to move to London, England. Yeah.
And you just went.
I just went.
You just went.
There's a mystery to it all. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
if the teacher tells them, fill up the whole page, they will.
Yeah.
If you're all given an assignment to do, create a big robin or a blue jay or a cardinal and put on the page and make sure it fills up 2/3 of it, they can all do it.
Yeah.
But something happens along the way.
Totally.
Where someone else just can't. I remember with life drawing again, I'd say, fill up that page, make sure that figure takes up 2/3 of the page. And for some people, it takes a long time. They still are drawing something very small in the corner. That's about takes up 20% of the page.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's mysterious to me how that happens.
Yeah. I have a massive canvas that I started just doing little things here and there on. And every time that a friend would come over, they'd be like, I love that. I love what's going on there. What's it going to be? And I was like, I have no idea. I don't ever go into a painting with like, this is what it's going to look like. And
Yeah.
it just, as I start to see shapes form or colors going together, it just unfolds.
You're
A lot of
reacting.
freedom
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
We're not creating for like a finite purpose.
Right. It's very pure. It just seems so pure. Right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
It's not an assignment. It's not.
Yes.
It's not something that's been. I'm losing. I can't remember the word.
Commissioned.
Yeah.
That's usually me. Usually you have to feed me the word. I'll give you every word around it. This
That's
is
right.
our relationship.
Yeah.
Especially since I had COVID. I'll give Marshall every word around the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Until he can find what it is that I'm trying to
like
say.
this.
It's
like
painting
this.
or creating simply for the sake of painting.
Yes.
I don't know if there's anything more honest than that. You know.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that just for the sake of it?
I don't think so. You know, I think I always had something in mind that this is for something.
show
This is
or-
for
You know
an
what?
exhibition.
Yeah.
This is part of
Yeah. Me
Part of
me
series.
too.
There's stream of consciousness writing, right? That you just put down whatever you're feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Artist's Way book I remember was popular years ago, and you would just fill it with whatever your thoughts were.
Yeah.
It's still popular.
Yeah.
People are still using it. Do you have this book?
I don't.
Oh,
I
we
have
should
one.
get
I
you
have one
this
from
book,
the
yeah.
early '90s, and I filled it up. And if I looked at it now, I'd think, "Wow, angry."
Yeah.
But that's what these things are for,
Yeah,
right?
no, like
You're
very,
supposed
very
to.
angry.
Yeah.
Angry at people encroaching on my space. Angry at.
I would not use that word to describe
No.
you at all.
That's what I think I was writing about, though.
Yeah.
Feeling like smothered and feeling like choices of other people around me are having a negative impact on me. And yeah, if you give me an opportunity to sit down and just write it out, that's what comes out sometimes. Yeah.
For me too, with writing, I have written a couple poems. I hope to publish a poetry book soon.
Amazing.
Thank you. My mom, though, when she would read my poems, she's like, what's going on? Why are you so sad?
I'm
And
laughing because I relate. I
Yeah.
relate so hard to this.
outwardly, I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not showing that I'm sad. Or like I maybe can't even pinpoint that this is the emotion that
Yeah.
I'm feeling until I write it in metaphors and painting a picture through words. Only then do you really fully see it. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast before. I've said that I've done songwriting, but I write a lot of poetry, but I would call it lyrics. So they were like saved lyrics for these imaginary songs that will never surface. But a lot of it, and it is so brooding and so full of sadness, but exploring sadness makes me incredibly happy. It's just like I was recently telling a friend, like I often sift through the wreckage of my life to find a clear path forward. And I mean that with a positive nature. Like I need to experience that sadness to feel the goodness of now, sort of.
Yeah.
And I remember I listen to a lot of sad music. I just makes me happy. And I remember driving in the car once, and my youngest daughter, Summer, she may have been like 5 or 6 at the time, she was like, this song makes me feel like I'm forgetting something. And I'm like, yes, baby.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the feeling. It makes you feel like you're forgetting something that you can't quite grasp what that is, you know? I would have used words like loss or miss, but
Yeah.
she was saying forgetting, and there was something so powerful about that. But do you get that? Like, you get that same, like, I'm not upset now, but
Yeah.
here's some feelings that I'm feeling, and they're going on the page
Yeah.
or typed into my phone.
And what I hear from what your daughter said too is kind of deja vu.
Yeah.
I don't know what this emotion is or what it's attached to, but it's there.
Yeah.
A song that I heard in Sarah's house recently was "Summertime Sadness" by Lana Del Rey.
I've been on a Lana kick.
Yeah, and when I think
Yeah.
about that song, so that song is about I think it's about a summer romance that's coming to an end. You know what I mean? And a change is happening.
Like, you're already sad and it hasn't even
It hasn't even quite
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
And I think about, this is so interesting. This song really speaks to me. I've never had a summer romance that ended. Basically, I started dating a woman when I was 16, and
You're
still
still
with
on
her.
that summer
Yeah.
romance.
Yeah, it never ended. I
Yeah.
never have experienced romantic loss, you know? So how is it that my heart can relate to it so much? And all I can think is other elements of sadness are being applied,
Or fear,
or fear. Yeah.
right?
And there's something beautiful about that song too, that something is coming to an end. I also I find great sadness sometimes in things that are meant to be nothing but joy and happiness, and manipulated to be that. Sarah knows I watch a lot of the Home Shopping Channel,
Okay.
which is a lie. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's a scripted, constant insincerity.
And I'd like to make it clear, he's not watching to shop. He's watching for these reasons he's describing.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not buying anything.
No.
It's just it's a language, and it's the way these ideas are being projected. It's how it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. On the Home Shopping Channel, there's no war going on in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Everything's like
Your life will be better.
yeah, your
if
life
you
will be
just
better. Yeah,
have
and this is an amazing
blender.
product, and I feel like the stories that the hosts share are disingenuous. You don't even believe them. You know what I mean? Oh, I've had mine for this many years. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how this tastes. Well, you know, like you'll never hear a negative thing said on the Home Shopping Channel, other than, oh, we've all had those juicers that were too messy to clean, but this will solve everything, right? Like, it's,
This one.
Yeah,
This is going to
this
do
is
it.
it. This is it.
and there's something very, very sad about watching this humans doing
Yeah.
this and this
Yeah.
experience, you know, this false world that makes you question,
Everything.
well, how much else is false in my life? Is every conversation, you know what I mean? Is this podcast we're recording false? Is it all, you know, just a stage setup of three people wearing masks for some reason, you know? And you can really find lots of beautiful sadness and things that are supposed to be upbeat and really happy, right?
Yeah.
That are just because they're not truthful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's all take a breath after that.
I like that. I like that, Marshall. Thank you. Yeah.
The when you stand on your balcony and look
Yeah.
out at Kitchener from that vantage point,
Yeah.
can you first of all tell us what streets you're seeing and what have you observed over time? I think about, to have a balcony like that, you've got different times of the day: morning, noon, late afternoon, and night, and lots of activity happening.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like an audience,
Yeah.
one person audience, and nobody else knows you're watching.
That is
But-
such a beautiful question.
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
streets
Tell
are
us
you
about that.
what streets are
Yeah.
you looking at, and tell us what that feels like?
I was looking at Chestnut Street, Mansion Street, Locust Street, just the top of Center in the Square. The sun, the walls were,
You're facing southwest.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brain was like trying to math,
Yep.
put it all together. I got sunrise and I got a little bit of sunset in my bedroom. I watched the couple that lived on the corner of Mansion and Chestnut put in that entire garden that was in the front of their yard
From start to finish.
from start to
Yeah.
finish. Yeah.
Yeah. And they have no idea that you're watching this progress.
No.
It's like your own little personal time lapse of their life. Yeah.
There was a gentleman who had a tortoise that he brought out in the summers, and he was on the corner.
Like an actual tortoise?
Like an actual tortoise.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then watch kids come and look at the tortoise. Would watch that couple with the beautiful garden set off fireworks, bright in front of their home. Watch the same people do their same jog.
Yeah.
And also within that neighborhood, there was this wonderful gentleman who I never got to meet, and I never saw him in a situation.
In street level?
I saw him in street level, but I never saw him without a pane of glass between us. And every time I would walk by, he was always sitting in his solarium, and he would always give a huge wave.
Wow.
And he saw me go from walking with my ex-boyfriend, and we would always give him a huge wave, to then just me, and then still a huge wave.
Mm-hmm.
And then there would be like 2 weeks that I wouldn't go for a walk, and then would go for a walk, and his face would just light up, and he would lean forward, and
Wow.
biggest wave. Yeah.
I think both of us are going to do some sad writing about that.
Oh gosh.
And what about like intersections and traffic and things like that? That's
The noise, you mean?
and just seeing that kind of activity. There's this huge anonymity that comes with living a space like yours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up above everything. I didn't hear the traffic. I had a perfect view of the trees, and there, I don't know if you guys knew, there was also a rooftop that we had access to. So then seeing the trees change throughout the year.
And looking over top of the canopy of the trees.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of special.
Yeah.
Before Neil Peart, the drummer of Rush, died, I got to interview him for about an hour. We talked.
Wow.
And we talked about him riding his motorcycle across North America.
Okay.
And he said, when you're on a motorcycle, he said, you've got your helmet on. He says, nobody can recognize me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He said, so you're completely anonymous. He said, and he said, I feel like I'm the world's audience, you know? Like just the world is happening all around me. And I'm driving through all these, mostly states, right?
Yeah.
And how the states change as you move from, you know, north to south or east to west. And I always liked that idea, the idea of being this observer, this audience of a space over time.
Yeah.
That's very private, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I guess movies and shows have been kind of made about these things,
Yes.
right? Where somebody, I can't help but feel like that feels so familiar, the idea of you waving to somebody,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
through glass, right?
Yeah.
From far away. And seeing only this little, you know, it's like a Alfred Hitchcock movie or something.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I never closed the blinds. I always had them open.
I have this feeling about blinds and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'll close them for sun.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, if it's getting too hot when we have those 40-degree days or whatever.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you're peeking in,
yeah,
you
you're
know,
welcome.
have at it.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered to close every. Sorry, and now the whole hi neighborhood. Yes, you're
Yeah.
going to see me in my house.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
I even on those hot days, I would still leave them open, let the sun just beat down, would not turn on the AC, would run the fan, but I got used to it and enjoyed it. But when my friends would come over, I don't know, what was it hot when you guys came?
That day wasn't too bad. When
No.
I came back to shoot that baby.
Oh yeah.
Whoo,
Oh,
mama.
you know about it. You know about it,
hot
Sarah.
in there. That was a long photo shoot,
yeah.
and that was a hot day.
Yeah, and I didn't have the AC on.
No, you did not.
No, it was working. It was working just fine. Oh, yeah.
When I came to photograph an infant, I should say, actually, my children have told me I have to stop saying shoot for my job.
Oh,
When I came to photograph an infant.
there you go.
Yeah.
When I sidebar, when I lived in England, I did a lot of photo shoots, and I was friends with a German woman, and she would say, "We're going to do the shooting."
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
What took you to England?
Yeah.
I was
A whim, right? No?
It was partially a whim, partially I live in nanny.
Okay, this is a great segue to your work with children as well.
Yes.
Because when we were in there, first of all, we were a bunch of children.
Yeah,
And
we
you
are.
were very attentive to our needs and you were helping us out, making friends with my kids who came along just because they were having a boring day. But when I came back with that family to shoot in the space, that second time, you were getting sippy cups and snacks and wiping up messes and bringing out tissues for noses and very attentive. And we have that wonderful photo of you
so
reaching
goofy.
across the table
Yeah.
to give the little boy his cup.
Yeah.
Such a good photo, but so natural in that space. So tell us about your work with children.
Yeah, I used to be a lifeguard with the City of Kitchener Aquatics and also taught swimming lessons. think that was the beginning of working with children. And then I volunteered at Kids Ability when I was 15. And I volunteered in the Kids Ability school that they have. And it was to get volunteer hours for high school diploma. And then took this job in England. And I raised these two boys. They were 5 and 2 years old when I arrived. And I had them from Monday to Thursday from 7:30 in the morning until 7:30 at night. I took them to school, took them to their football practice. Probably came up wrong. Their soccer practice, which they told me many times was not soccer.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, and I lived with them too.
Some of my favorite horror movies start with a nanny showing up in England to look after 2 children.
It was wonderful, and it was also a horror movie.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. And so, I did that for a year. And then when I came back, I did a postgrad in autism and behavior science. And I worked as a behavioral therapist for 4 years.
What's that kind of work like? It sounds heavy.
It was heavy. It was very beautiful, though, to witness these children who would come with no language, not be able to communicate with words. And the way that they would communicate often was through maladaptive behaviors or screaming or just grabbing what they wanted. From them to come in with that as their communication devices, to then have them speak English words when they wanted something. That was really, really spectacular.
And you would have seen this when you were 15, being a lifeguard at Kids Ability. You would have seen children vocalizing in ways that you had never seen before, right?
Yeah. When I was 15, I was lifeguarding and was also volunteering. It's really...
I imagine it's like stepping into another world, because that's how I feel when I step into Kids Ability.
Yeah, it was. I had the opportunity to then also, I volunteered in the pool that was at Kids Ability, and helped the kiddos out there too. It was a very challenging job. It was very challenging, and I burnt out, unfortunately.
I was going to ask about that because it's a heavy, I'm going to start this over again. It's heavy work. It's beautiful work. Mm-hmm. It's rewarding work, but it's heavy work, and it's very hard to, especially if you are a super feeler, which I think you might be, such as I.
Yes. Yeah.
You take it home.
Totally.
You just take it home, and it's painted all over you, and your clothes smell like it, and your brain is full of it, and your speech is full of it, and you can't let it go, really. So I can imagine that burnout would be a huge outcome of that. Do you want to describe what that was like for you?
What the burnout was like?
Sure.
Yeah. It was what you just described. I wore it, and it also became a part of like my identity. That this is what I do, therefore this is what I am. And when what I do creates so much sadness and stress, and a lot of stress, when my job creates stress and when my job creates sadness, then I feel as though myself is stress and myself is sadness. And it was difficult to separate the two. And also with that, I loved what I did. I loved it. And I was very good at it. And it, the burnout looked like crying every morning before work, and then crying every day when I got home. And then on weekends, still just crying. My mom's gonna hear this and she's gonna say, well, you cry all the time anyways, which is true.
I'm a crier. I hear you. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm surprised.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I cried on the way here thinking about this. Oh my gosh. But this crying was like deep soul, deep feeling. I like of just wanting to help so much and then feeling stuck.
Yeah.
And not being able to. Yeah.
It's exhausting.
I often think about the parents.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I'll maybe recognize maybe some young people in the community, and then I'll see them just randomly at a grocery store with a parent, and the behavior that I'm seeing there, or the vocalization is it's the same here and there, and then maybe at the farmers market again, right? And I think this is everyday life for the parents.
Yep.
And I always wonder how the humans have an ability to I don't know, I guess there's maybe a certain resignation that comes with it, or an acceptance. So maybe that's a better word, an acceptance that this is what our life looks like. And maybe they don't look too far ahead into the future, right?
Or also beauty.
Yeah.
Or also beauty in your life.
And deep love as well. I did a lot of parent coaching as part of my role. And so I was in the home working with the parents with their child. And I saw that, what you described, Marshall. And I also saw a lot of like, look at this, look what he did at school today. It is so incredible. This is so incredible. Or parents just being huge advocates for their children.
Saying the praises of their children and their accomplishments as they move forward.
Totally.
You must feel so much gratitude for that type of reward with that work.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Does it override the burnout for you? Can you look at the gratitude part?
Yes.
At the appreciation of
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. I can now. Yeah. And after, it took me, I think about 6 months to then have the appreciation for it again. Yeah. When I first handed in my 2 weeks notice, I handed it in to my supervisor, and then I handed it in on a Thursday, and I had taken that Friday off and the Monday off because I was burnt out. And when I returned to work on the Tuesday, she hadn't handed it in yet because she wanted to convince me to stay. And it was really hard for me to
stand up for yourself.
Stand up for myself and put my foot down and say, I need to take care of myself. And that was something that was a conversation that I really had to have with myself, a big one. And the conversation went like, yes, you did your undergrad and then a postgrad. And plus you've been volunteering in this field of work since you were 15, but also you don't have to anymore.
It's okay to move on.
Yeah.
We're going to take a moment to hear from this episode's sponsor.
Ever wondered what happens inside a black hole?
Or what quantum mechanics tells us about reality?
Curious about how the universe began or how it will end?
Feed your curiosity with Conversations at the Perimeter, a science podcast from Perimeter Institute for Theoretical Physics.
On each episode, we chat with a different scientist about the grandest questions in the universe, from the quantum to the cosmos.
Geek out to Conversations at the Perimeter, wherever you get your podcasts.
And now, back to our show.
It's taken me into my 40s to realize that I can do things that are for me, and I can find things that make me happy, and that I don't have to serve everyone around me all the time, and that I don't have to please everyone, and that this one's my favorite. People don't have to like me, and I'm not for everyone.
Yeah.
I'll just focus on the people that I am for.
I saw this great thing on Instagram. It was a woman speaking to a man. He said, sometimes you're a bit too much, right? And she says, well, why don't you go find someone who's a bit less?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think the one I saw was like, am I too much or are you just basic? Which makes me giggle.
I love that too.
And that's true. Like, that's something that I'm saying to you, Julia, is like I am kind of too much, but that's okay.
Me too.
That's what I am.
I am
too much. I'm a lot.
Yeah.
And,
it's great.
it is. And it's okay if that's not for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I want to jump off of what you said and say that I think that's why when you met me and I listed off all the things that I'm doing this, 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 was because I had realized and stepped into the knowing that like I can do whatever the heck I want.
Well, this is my favorite thing to say. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yep.
As long as I'm not hurting anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's conversations like these. This is 3 artists just speaking. You can put us anywhere.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a conversation like this.
Yeah.
It sometimes makes me sad when I think about the number of hours I've spent in spaces and conversations with people where you can't have that kind of conversation.
Samesies.
Yeah, it's like either they're not receptive to it, or you try to meet them where they're at and they just really want to talk about how the price of things are really going up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And where
Their kitchen reno.
Yeah, their kitchen reno.
Kitchen looks beautiful.
Yeah, sorry everyone about your kitchen reno.
Yeah. And so you're just now existing in a space really for the sake of other people, right?
Yeah.
And there's often, Sarah knows this, I talk about how there's a real lack of equity in the conversation. And one person walks away feeling great and the other person walks away feeling drained, like they're just wasted and depleted. So I think that's a wonderful thing, is to be an artist and be able to sit in each other's space and let the conversation go wherever it goes. What is your educational background?
Thank you for saying what you just said, Marshall.
Yeah.
I have my undergrad is in psychology. I have a minor in English, postgrad in autism and behavior science. I have completed Reiki level 1 and Reiki level 2.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about Reiki yet.
We haven't even talked about Reiki yet. And user experience design certificate.
Throw that in there, because why the hell not, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I've been revamping my resume, so they're on here.
Yeah.
Trauma first aid with Dr. Peter Levine.
Yeah.
And then through my work at Kidsability, and then I also was an educational assistant for a hot second, and so I did some training through them as well, behavior management systems and nonviolent crisis intervention training. Yeah. And
Psychological trauma first aid. It sounds like something that's very short and condensed, but that sounds like something incredibly complicated, though.
And important.
Yes. Yeah. Trauma first aid. It was very condensed. It was only about, it was 4 weeks. And I feel I'm only able to pull from it based off of my experience doing Reiki as well.
So tell us about the Reiki. This is very interesting stuff.
Yeah. Reiki, I was trying to think of how I would describe it on the way over. And I still I can't describe it. What Reiki sessions look like when I'm the practitioner is my client lays on my massage table in front of me and I give them a head massage and then just flow with my intuition where it guides me. When I connect to Reiki, I feel, it sort of feels like the beginnings of a wine buzz, or like just like a small mushroom microdose.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Those are the best parts of those things.
Yeah.
It's just a
little bit.
Just a little
bit.
bit.
Yeah. I become emotional. Duh. During Reiki sessions. And I have been able to work through a lot of blockages with my clients, energetic blockages. Reiki is it's a universal energy that exists in you and exists in you and exists in me and the trees and the grass, not necessarily the pavement, but maybe parts of the pavement. And I have been taught and have been, I don't want to say called to, because that feels very highfalutin, but I've been opened up to be a channel for Reiki. And it still feels like magic to me. I did Reiki level 1 with Natasha Elaine, who's my teacher, my Reiki master, in December of 2020. And then it was 9 or 10 months between starting Reiki level 1 to completing Reiki level 2. And it's been very special. It's been really, really spectacular. And I had clients come into my loft, and that was also a very beautiful setting to do it in. Yeah.
So I come into this conversation not knowing anything
Yeah.
about Reiki.
Yeah.
It could have been in martial arts for all I know, right? So
Yes.
I'm not clear. Is there dialogue happening here? Is it all physical? What is the client experiencing?
I appreciate you saying that, because I need to, put myself in that space more often too. There isn't necessarily talking. It could be physical. I'll touch the head. But like there's no movement on my client's part at all. They just lay there and receive. There often is crying from both parties. But the crying is a release. So Reiki is an energy healing modality. And it works with energy in our body and different the word that's coming to mind is trauma, but I don't want to just label it as trauma. But experiences that we have, whether it be physical or emotional, come into our body, and then they can stay and they get stuck. And that can manifest as soreness, manifest as sleeping problems, can manifest as an illness. And Reiki can work towards helping release what may be stuck. In the sessions that I do, in my initial sessions, often I don't speak during it, but then afterwards we'll talk for about 15 minutes about what I picked up and what my client has picked up or what they felt. Sometimes they match and then sometimes they don't, and either is okay. I've had a client, or when I was working with a woman, I felt a strong energy of a grandparent, and I mentioned it to her afterwards, and she said, I just wrote in my journal this morning that I need to reconnect with my grandparents. And then she wrote me 2 days afterwards, and she said, I contacted them and my grandma's not doing too well. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
You picked up on the grandparent. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you if there's a bit of a conversation that happens beforehand. So the closest thing I've experienced to really letting myself go. First of all, I've had normal massages, where I lay on a table and then I'm told to flip.
Yeah.
Great, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Marshall, what a description of lay on a table, now flip.
yeah.
And we're done.
Yeah, here comes that hard pillow.
Yeah.
And,
Is it cold enough? You good?
Yeah, exactly. And it's great, right? One of our previous guests, Mary Everett, is a Thai yoga massage person.
Yep.
And when I got to experience Thai yoga massage with Mary, you're in a room with like very beautiful atmospheric music, right?
Yeah.
And some candles lit,
Yeah.
right? Or little lights anyways. And you're fully clothed in a very comfortable kind of Trek pant clothing.
Yeah.
And Mary begins the session by coming up behind you kind of basically and saying, let me just be very good. I'm going to be very good to you. And just let me be very good to you.
Yeah.
And she basically wraps her legs around you and wraps her arms around you and like a hugging from somebody from behind.
Yeah.
And then the session is basically, as Mary describes, like lazy man's yoga, which is she's going to take you through a yoga session.
Like, but she manipulates your body.
That's right.
Yeah.
She takes your arm and she moves my arm
Wow.
back. And she moves
It's
my
kinda
arm
cool.
back. And I'm really not doing anything but letting somebody else move my body around.
Yeah.
Letting somebody else drive.
Yeah. And it's quite the experience to have somebody say to you, let me be good to you. Let me be.
I might cry just hearing that right now. We were talking about.
Yeah, in fact,
Can you say it again?
I had a few more afterwards, and as I guess had Mary's trust and friendship. Eventually, Mary said, "I'm going to be very loving to you. I'm going to be very good. I'm going to be very kind to you." And I'd be like, "Okay,
okay, here we go."
And just what an amazing hour!
Yeah.
And you come out of it not only feeling physically amazing, but I actually felt like in my heart, like spiritually.
Totally.
Hugely energized. I wish that could have stayed with me for a long time. It doesn't, because then now I go out to my car, now I'm in the traffic, now I'm back to everything. But I wish I could live in that space just for a while longer. And again, I can't think of anything else in my life where somebody comes up behind you and says, just let me be good to you. You know what I mean?
Sarah, are you taking notes?
Can you still, I wish.
No, but there's all sorts.
Totally.
Julia's looking
Yes,
at me.
yeah.
We were just talking
I've
about
melted into a
we were
puddle.
talking about this on a walk the other day.
Yeah.
There's also the social barriers that prevent us from doing that, even with those
Yeah.
closest to
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
And there's things we don't even talk about as why we're not doing that with
Yeah.
those closest to us.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is there some kind of little conversation that happens before a Reiki session?
Yeah.
Julia's might start with "Let me be good to you" now. That you
Yeah, maybe.
mentioned this.
Yeah.
Sorry, please continue.
No, it's okay. Yeah, before my Reiki session, it's I ask what the intention is that my client wants to hold with them through the session. They can say it out loud, or they can say it in their head as well. And then just that you have to be open and willing to receive Reiki, which also can be the same as open and willing to receive love. And I want to incorporate in my everyday dialogues with "I love you. Thanks so much. Thank you, Marshall. Thank you, Sarah. I love you guys."
I think we love you too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, and going beyond that, the social norm. So telling all of my female friends that I love them, and then all of my male friends that I love them. And it doesn't need to be anything.
Yeah, I throw
more
the
than that.
love word around a lot.
I do too.
But like I fucking mean it.
Yeah.
I regret not having said it. I had a
Yeah.
wonderful mentor, an artist teacher. Her name was Michael Manson.
Mm-hmm.
And she would end every conversation on the phone, especially with "love you, hun," right?
Yeah.
I'd say bye, and I'd say "bye, Michael," right? And I never said it back once. I'm not sure why. I loved
It's your masculinity that wouldn't allow you
I
to.
loved Michael Manson.
Yeah.
Even when Michael was dying, she said, "I don't think I have much time left here now." She says, "But I feel like I've made good use." She said a few things, and she said, "Love you, hun." I said, "Okay, bye, Michael." I have no idea why. You know?
It was a number of years ago as well, and I think that now you would say it.
Now I would. For
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, you didn't even hesitate. Your eyes just went huge.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
now I would say
No,
it.
Yeah.
I have no
Yeah.
problem with it now.
Yeah.
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 Something was keeping me
Oh yeah.
saying it to not just Michael, but almost anybody probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even now, I'm not going to say it to my male friends.
But you do love them.
Yeah.
Hesitation.
I was just gonna say he's nodding.
Yeah.
Folks at home,
For
he's
everyone listening,
nodding.
he's nodding with agreement here.
Yeah.
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 Well, love is a big ball of worms. No, can of worms. Ball of wax. What am I looking for?
I don't know.
All of it.
So smooshy and messy.
Yeah.
And part of like me being a lot is I have a lot of it to give.
Yeah.
I'm just like a little over stocked with love to give. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're reminded that, something I keep hearing throughout the pandemic is I've heard people say, everybody's hurting, from this.
Yeah.
Or just in general,
Yeah.
pre or post pandemic.
Totally. Yeah.
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 It's messy on good days.
Yeah.
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 I like
Yeah.
messy though.
Yeah. It's been really beautiful within the Reiki work that I've been doing to meet people at their messy and then say it's so okay to be messy. And my sessions aren't always quiet. When I feel that I need to say something, I'll say something. And just the other day I was giving I gave a session to one of my good friends. She was just about to move to Nunavut because she got a teaching job there, and it's now fallen through. But at the time, she was going to be leaving for Nunavut in a couple days, and I asked her if it was okay if I took her socks off. And she was like, "Yeah, but I'm sorry, my feet are gross." And I said to her, "You need to love your feet because they've carried you through so much." And she's traveled a bunch, and I visited her when she lived in Switzerland, and she used to live in a van in New Zealand with her boyfriend, and it was her feet that took her there.
Yeah.
And they deserve love. And when I said that to her, she started crying, and
When
love the messy.
When my
Yeah.
wife's aunt was dying,
Inga.
Inga, yeah, all I could do for her really was take her socks off and rub her feet.
Yeah.
And she said, "Wow, are you ever great at that.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, in the 30 years prior, I never asked Inga if I could take her socks off and rub her feet. The setting just didn't send me any sign that was something to do or it was okay to do. But it's so odd that in this moment of incredible vulnerability, and two people know they're saying goodbye to each other, that I had no problem saying, do you want me to take your socks off and I can rub your feet? You know what I mean? But what's holding us back from that kind of kindness? And
feet are super personal, first of all.
Yes.
But also I related to Julia's part of the story and yours so much, Marshall, because I am embarrassed of my feet. I have large feet.
I'm embarrassed of mine too.
Yeah. And it's not, and I have in the last year of this realizing that I'm a lot and, I can
the feet
do
are a
whatever
lot
the fuck
and it's
I want.
A-okay.
And it's A-okay.
Yeah.
These have, I've kept my balance. I've done everything.
Yeah.
I've run races and traveled and done all these wonderful things and I'm capable and I'm healthy and I've learned to love them. But I don't know if I've ever, aside from like a pedicure, ever had my feet rubbed ever. Sorry, I'm putting that out here. This might get cut later. But you both of you just saying that, I was like, wow, that sounds intensely personal to me.
Yeah.
But like also good.
The guy that the gentleman I was with when I came to your Homer Watson show, we're not seeing each other anymore. But he would rub my feet and it was so wonderful. And I have injured, I have a couple injuries from just being a reckless rock climber. And
We haven't even talked about rock
we haven't
climbing.
even talked about rock climbing.
Okay, please finish your story, then we'll get there.
Okay, and then we'll talk about rock climbing. Okay. Can we talk all day, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Great. Okay. I'd be like, I would say to him, my foot hurts a lot right now. I'm noticing that I feel off balance. My foot's feeling a little bit numb. And his response was, come have a seat and let me rub your feet. And that,
Gentleman's mom, good job. Or dad.
yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about rock climbing.
Rock climbing. I was introduced to rock climbing in about 2016. I'll say this gentleman's name because he deserves credit for a lot. I dated a man named Damien and he taught me how to rock climb. First time I climbed outside was in Hawaii.
Wow.
And I learned so much from him. And I've done a lot of outdoor climbing. I love Grand River Rocks. I go there quite often. Not as often.
Supporter of our show.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I used to climb about 4 times a week. Now I haven't been in I haven't been in about 3 months. But I really enjoy it. And the thing I enjoy about it most is the self-talk that comes out of it. When I'm on the wall doing an auto-belay, so I'm climbing on my own and I know I can do it, but I'm struggling with it. And I just tell myself, you got this. And if you don't get it this time, take a little break and then you can return to the wall and you'll get it. And after the 4th try, I finish it and it's like, yeah, now we're gonna go have a burger. You did it. Great job.
The thing that fascinates me, I've been on many school field trips to Grand River Rocks,
Yeah.
is sometimes the thing that you're gripping onto is the smallest, tiniest little thing that should not be able to support whatever it is you're trying, whatever part of your body, whatever weight distribution is trying to. But there's something there to be used. I think it's an incredible metaphor for things that the tiniest little nubs and crooks can actually help you get just a little bit further in your life, eh?
Yeah. And something I really enjoy about rock climbing is that there's like a finite goal to it. You get to the top of the wall, you did it, you finished it, and then you can go a grade up. And then you can finish that wall, that grade up. Yeah.
I love watching the coming down.
Yeah.
Like it's just this smooth kind of, takes, I guess you use your feet to kind of bounce off a couple times.
Yeah. Have you ever seen somebody lead climb before?
No, what's that mean?
It's when you hook yourself in as you're climbing. So there's a top rope that's set up at the top.
I have seen that,
Yeah. And then Yeah, Sarah's eyes are like, what?
I'm good. It's good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's beautiful documentaries that have been made on it.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
where I've seen it.
Yeah. And in lead climbing, if you fall to like your safety point is the clip that you've put in, the last clip you've put in. So it can be quite a fall. But it's the adrenaline is, whew, yeah, gets you going. Yeah.
We do have just 5 minutes left.
Yeah, we do.
Because we
You're
have
right.
another one at
Another guest.
1:15.
Yeah. I know you have a beautiful wrap-up question planned.
Yeah.
Is it going to make me cry?
I feel
Probably.
like crying.
Well, you cried on the way here. And now
I did,
you're
yeah.
crying.
Okay, great.
I'll do
Yeah.
a little crying.
Yeah.
Marshall
Okay.
hasn't cried in how long?
Since I was a child.
Yeah.
No.
No, really.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something
I'm just
doesn't-
like, what time is it?
Something doesn't
1
work.
p.m. I haven't cried since 6:45.
Yep. Something does not work there.
Oh, I wouldn't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah. I don't know.
No.
Close sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've gotten this far and you really have lived the artist's life in every way, right? It's part of who you are and how you approach probably every friendship and conversation. Even difficult matters, you have to be creative and find ways to move through them. Why don't you reflect on that you've managed to, get to this point in your life and really on your own terms, and take chances and know when to stop something and know when to try something new, right? Your heart must have to be very open and receptive to all these things. Yeah.
That is a beautiful question. Thank you. That wasn't always the case. I went to Cameron Heights and I did the International Baccalaureate program in high school. And it was very regimented. And the only end goal that was would be honored post completing the IB diploma was to go to university. And I went to university just because I felt I had to. And I did a degree in psychology just because I didn't know what else to do. And then, as we had said before, I worked and went to school again. And then I worked for so long. And it wasn't until I got to this breaking point that I was able to let myself really come out. I still feel a lot of imposter syndrome when talking about myself as an artist. But what you just said in like creative thinking, that can also be an art too. And I never really thought about that so much before. I am very grateful that I have a place to land right now. I just moved home with my mom because I am broke.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Yeah. And very grateful I can land there because I have been not rejecting a 9-to-5, but have been wanting to dive into things that make me feel happier. Dive into Reiki, dive into art, dive into writing. I've been editing as well, editing some books. And really, I think that the artist in all of us comes out when we say, we can do whatever the fuck we want. Yeah. It was, I have a feeling I was like walking barefoot in a forest when this thought came to me that was, I can do whatever I want to. Nobody told me that before. Why don't we share that more? We can do whatever we want to, within limits, of course. If it's not hurting somebody or if it's not hurting you, do what you want. Paint that picture. You don't have to sell it. Paint it. Make it loud or make it quiet. Date that person or don't date that person. Work 8 jobs in order to maintain this beautiful space that you're living in. And then when it's too much, you can step away.
Bonn Park is made possible with the support of the Kitchener Public Library and the Kitchener-Waterloo Community Foundation.
Our show is produced by Sarah Geidlinger,
And Marshall Ward.
with audio engineering by Sarah Geidlinger.
Bonn Park's original music is by Alan Lung. Harry, you still with us? We want to tell you about a fun project that we have. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We have another podcast called An Unscripted Spectacle, Wrestling with Wrestling. Here's Colin Hunter of Kayfabe News to tell you all about it.
Welcome to An Unscripted Spectacle, Wrestling with Wrestling. I'm Colin Hunter from Kayfabe News. Marshall is utterly obsessed with professional wrestling. Sarah is utterly perplexed by professional wrestling. On each episode of An Unscripted Spectacle, Marshall and Sarah talk with a different guest from the world of wrestling. Promoters, referees, journalists, and current and past stars of the Squared Circle to talk deeply about the strange magic of professional wrestling that has enchanted Marshall his whole life. Can they turn Sarah into a fellow connoisseur of professional wrestling? She'll need some convincing.
I find out who Jimmy Corderas is. Who the heck are you?
Oh, well, that's a good question. For those who don't know, I spent the better part of over 2 decades working in WWF/WWE, mostly as a referee inside the ring.
I have the honor of meeting the magnificent LuFisto. I heard that you were described as the first lady of hardcore. I've just recently found out what hardcore is.
Yeah, thanks to Madman Pondo.
When I've learned that I was going to be inducted, it was like, it is now my time to tell the story of women's wrestling. Because so many times I've heard, oh, this is the first time this happens in women's wrestling history. And I'm like, no.
I learned all about the storytelling and writing process from Tom Casiello.
Yeah, I was in soap operas for 14 years. I was at Young and the Restless last. That was from 2009 to 2011. And so I thought, I'll go in for the interview. I'll be honest with them. If I blow it, I blow it. Not the end of the world. And I was there for 6 years. And I rose up the ranks to managing lead writer. And it was the most insane time period of my entire life.
I got a new skincare regime from RJ City. Checking out your hair, and I wish that mine looked like yours. You have beautiful locks.
Thank you. The secret, this isn't a plug, it feels like an endorsement, is aloe vera. I have it here. I put it on my skin. I put it in my hair. I use the gel. I put a couple drops of peppermint in.
I have a plant right there on my
Good.
fridge.
Cut it open, squeeze it out, and put it, honestly, wherever you want. It's good for you.
I find out that Colt Cabana is just famous enough that he can still buy groceries. And Tyson Kidd tells me all about the people's elbow. Who knew?
Tyson comes to a complete stop, then brings his leg over the guy like he's going to do a leg drop. But the leg keeps circling past the guy, and then he drops an elbow on the guy.
Oh, and the elbow represents all the people of the fans?
That's what
he's been voted, he's going to drop this elbow?
Well, he started calling himself the people's champion, and then that move just became the people's elbow.
And then there's also, as you know, there's the people's strudel.
Yeah. I mean, there's the people's eyebrow. There's a lot of the people. Got a lot of people.
So check out An Unscripted Spectacle, Wrestling with Wrestling. Available anywhere you get your podcasts.